Hi everyone, my name is Teddy. I'm the Education Manager at SANCCOB. I'm calling you from Cape Town, South Africa. Now I'm a teacher, just like your teacher is in school, but I don't work at a school. I work at a hospital, and I mostly work with these guys.
I gotta disconnect. Is that you?
Can I if anyone can see me? I think we have issues with one of the teachers. Dawn, I'm just going to mute your mic because I'm getting a lot of feedback on my side.
Just that. Because I had the mic on for you.
Okay, so that should help with that. So, guys, where are we? Joe, I think we're having issues. Is anyone else getting like a really bad ringing feedback?
I hung up.
Yeah, me too. Okay, hold on. Let's try to fix this. Okay. All right. So, guys, sorry. Hi, I'm Tammy, and this is Nona over here. You can see she's so beautiful, and she's so excited to see all of you and to be here during this lesson. So Nona is actually here today to teach us a little bit about why she lives at the SANCCOB Center. It's the same reason why one of her friends lives here as well, Steve. So we'll be able to jump into that real soon. While I have Nona in front of me, though, I just want to show you some really cool things about her. So if I pop Nona on the table with us, 1, 2, 3, you'll see that Nona doesn't have any spots on her tummy. Instead, she's got, sorry, Joe, you back in?
Is it okay, Tammy? Are you still getting the feedback?
Yes, it's okay.
Okay, let me try this for you, Tammy, if you're still getting the feedback. I don't hear it on my end, but let me try turning all the volumes down for you.
That's okay. Thank you.
Does that make it any better?
Sorry. No, we're fine. Thanks, Joe.
Okay.
Okay. You guys will notice that Nona has these little spots on her tummy. Now, all African penguins have these spots, but none of them have the same spots. It's like a fingerprint. It's something that makes them unique. You'll also see if I bend Nona's flippers, they can go all the way back, and she can actually touch her flippers together. And you can see it doesn't hurt her or anything. Her flippers are really flexible, and they can move quite a bit more than I think what we expect flippers are able to move. But we're not here to learn so much about Nona and her body, as cool as it is. Oh, she just had a big poop on my table, but that's fine. So we're not here so much to learn about Nona and her body and her biology and how it works, but rather about SANCCOB and why it is that Nona lives with us. And in order to do this, I'm going to need to share my screen with you. Share my screen. All right, cool. So can everyone see my screen? Awesome. So we're here today to meet Steve and Nona, the friendliest penguins at SANCCOB. So you might be thinking, SANCCOB, what on earth is SANCCOB? Well, that's the name of the hospital where I work. It stands for the Southern African Foundation for the Conservation of Coastal Birds. It's a really, really long name. So we actually just say SANCCOB. It's much shorter and much sweeter. We are located in Cape Town. This is a picture of the city of Cape Town. It's really beautiful. A lot of people travel from all over the world to come and visit us. You'll see that there's this really big mountain right in the middle of Cape Town, and that is called Table Mountain. It's called that because it just looks like this really big table. So not a very original name, but it's a beautiful place to live. At SANCCOB, we do a few things. The first being oil spill response. So when we get birds in that have oil on their feathers, we'll clean it off and release them back into the wild, and veterinary medicine. So hands up, who in the class has heard the word vet? Okay, so it seems like a couple of us have heard this word. So a vet In your class, I want you to tell your teacher what you think a vet does. So in each class, you put your hand up and tell your teacher what do you think it is a vet does for a living. Okay, excellent. So you should have heard responses like vets help animals, vets are animal doctors, vets sort out animals when they get sick or when they get hurt. So the long word for a vet is a veterinarian. And at SANCCOB, we work with veterinary medicine. So we have animal doctors that work here and they make our animals better. Now, what we're actually the busiest with is chick rearing. So I'm going to play this video for you. It's actually a news broadcast from my country. I've muted the sound, and instead I'm actually going to rather chat you through what's happening in the video. So this lady is just talking about the start of our chick season here at the center in South Africa. Every year we get hundreds of chicks that come in abandoned from the wild, and most of these are arriving as eggs. So the bulk of the eggs actually come from people's gardens, people who live near the colonies, or it could be that they're from nests that have been abandoned by their parents. The reason why we would pick up an egg that's in someone's garden is because your garden is not a safe place for a penguin to live. The penguin has to cross the road to get to the ocean, and you may have cats or dogs that can cause a problem. We're over in the chick rearing unit now, and you can see there's some baby penguins in there. Romy is in there as well. Basically, Romy is a penguin mom. That's her job, and she makes sure that all of the African penguin chicks are raised well and that they are healthy and happy. Whenever the chicks do eat, Romy's sure to wipe down their beaks and their bottoms to make sure that they are clean. As time goes by, eventually we'll get to the stage where they're old enough and then they're released back into the wild. So towards the end of the video here, you'll see 2 African penguins that are being released, and they're doing a good job of waddling back to the ocean. My favorite thing about penguins is actually how they waddle. I really love watching them waddle and seeing how they walk. And I think now is a good time for us to have a little break together and play a little game. So what I'd like all of our classes to do that are with me is, can you please all stand up together? So let's all stand up where we are. Excellent. Okay, everyone's standing up. I'm going to stand up too. And I'm going to pop Nona on the floor with me so she can play with us. Okay, so we're all standing up. Now, boys and girls, we are now a colony of penguins. So it's like how you get a flock of sheep, you get a colony of penguins. And in our colony, we're all on the beach together. I want us to put our flippers at our sides. So flippers at your sides, please. Very good. And we're going to practice waddling around like those penguins we just saw in the video. Okay, off you go. I'm going to waddle with you. I see lots of penguins waddling. Well done. Okay, stop, little penguins. Stop where you are. We are stuck on a rock. Now, we're African penguins. We don't just slide on our tummies because we don't live in the snow. We live on a beach. It's warm and beautiful where we live. So we can't slide on our tummy to get off the rock. We need to jump. Now, remember, we're African penguins, so we can't bend our knees very well. Instead, when we jump, we've got to keep our legs straight and kind of go like, yeah, you got to push your body up. Okay, let's see if we can do it on 3. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, very good. Okay, off you go. Keep waddling. All right, stop, little penguins. You have found a penguin friend. When African penguins are friends, they do something called preening. They take their beak. So everyone take your beaks, please. And they clean their friend's feathers. So go up to a penguin friend and clean their feathers. Oh. Okay, very good. Let's keep waddling. We're nearly done. Okay, stop, little penguins. Last thing. We have met a kelp gull. Now, African penguins, they don't like kelp gulls. They're a very big seagull, and we don't like them because they tend to steal our eggs, which is a big problem. They swoop down, pick up our eggs, fly high in the sky, drop them, and then they'll eat whatever's inside the egg. So we need to bray so that the kelp gull leaves us alone. So cows moo, African penguins bray. Their bray is a very interesting sound. It's kind of like a wah, hee-haw, kind of noise. It's a really, really weird sound for an animal to make. But we need to do this together. So let's practice on 3 to bray. 1, 2, 3. Rah, hee-haw, rah. Good. Now, I'm going to listen, and I want to hear all of you braying for me. I want to hear all the little penguins all across their brain. Let's hear on 3. 1, 2, 3. Very good. Well done. And let's all waddle back to our nests and sit down. Excellent. Good. Now that we've played a little game and we've relaxed a bit, let's go on to our main lesson, which is why Nona and Steve live at SANCCOB. So I'm going to share my screen with you again. And let's learn about why Nona and Steve are at SANCCOB. So you should be back on my screen again. Give me a thumbs up if you are. Okay, very good. So here's a picture of Steve. He's saying, hi, I'm Steve. I'm an endangered African penguin. Endangered means that there aren't many left of him. He's nearly extinct. My feathers are brown, but soon I'll get a tuxedo. So right now, Steve is kind of like a teenager penguin. So soon he will go black and white. And Steve is a handsome boy. Hi, I'm Nona on our next slide. I like to eat sardines. I look like I'm wearing a tuxedo, and I'm a beautiful girl. So Nona and Steve aren't different types of penguins. They are both African penguins. It's just that Nona is older than Steve. Because Nona is at least 2 years old, her feathers are black and white. Steve and Nona live at SANCCOB because they are tame, like our cat or dog at home. So hands up, who has a pet at home? Whether it's a cat, a dog, a budgie, who's got a pet at home? Okay, good. It seems like a couple of us have pets. Now, our pets at home, they love to be around us. They love our company. They're not scared of us at all. But we don't have bears or lions or penguins as pets at home because they are wild animals. It's not normal for them to be tame. But for Steve and Nona, they act more like pets than penguins. Now, this means that Steve and Nona aren't scared of people, and this impacts how they hunt. A wild penguin will go out into the ocean to catch fish, but Steve and Nona, they would rather look for a person and give them food. So this is why Steve and Nona need to live with us, because if we let them go, they wouldn't hunt for their own food. Steve and Nona actually came to SANCCOB very tame. This most likely happened because someone fed them in the wild. This teaches us important lessons about when we're out in nature. The first one being that we must leave things how we found them. Remember, when you're in nature, you are visiting an animal's home. Make sure you leave it how you found it. Number 2, never approach wild animals. You can hurt yourself, they could hurt you, you could hurt them, or you could really scare them, which is not a good idea. And the last thing is you must remember to definitely never feed wild animals. It's important to know that if we feed wild animals, we are teaching them that they must find people to give them food instead of hunting for their own food. Well, thank you. I hope that you enjoyed learning a little bit more about Steve and Nona and why they're at the hospital. I know it's a very short, quick little lesson, but it's an important one. So to help wrap things up with our lesson, I actually just want to show you something really cool to try and help explain what it was that I was talking about today. So boys and girls, what is this that I have here in my hand? It's a flower. Very good. So I've got this flower in my hand. Nona's also very interested in it. She's like, oh, I like this flower too. So I've got this flower. Let's say I wanted to start picking off the petals of this flower. And let's say I wanted to tear off the stem and I wanted to rip the stem open and see what was going on inside and all of that. So I'm busy doing a couple things, trying to figure out how this flower works. Now what I've got left over in my hand is pieces of this flower. Can everyone see it? Yeah. All right. Now, boys and girls, can I put this back together? If I had glue or if I had sticky tape, could I just take these petals, put it back on the flower, and it would keep growing? No, I can't. And this teaches us something important about nature and when we're out in nature. And that is that when people go out and they change something in nature, you can't just go back and put it like it was. If you cut down a tree, you can't just put the tree back on the stump and it'll keep growing. As people, we're responsible for what we do to the world around us. And we should be careful about the things we do, because some of the things that we do to nature, we can't just take back. So I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. It seems like Nona definitely did. She had fun time in my office. As a special treat now, I'm going to take you outside so you can see where Nona and Steve live. Would you like to go see? Yes. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to take you outside. Let's see where Nona lives. Okay. Cool. Sorry, my office is very messy. Okie dokes. Right, so let's head out to the outside of the hospital. So this is the outside of our hospital. You can see that there's netting along the top. This is actually for mosquitoes. So mosquitoes, if they bite our penguins, can give them avian malaria. We want to make sure that no mosquitoes can get in to bite the penguins. If we go down here and we look this side, you'll see that this is where Steve and Nona live. So there's a big, beautiful pool that they can go and swim in, and there are many penguin friends for them. You'll see there are also lots of these colorful little houses. It kind of looks like Sesame Street. So the penguins, they live inside these little houses. There'll be couples that'll go in there at night so they can sleep and be nice and warm. You can also move down. And you'll see more of the pen over here. So there are more penguins out that way. And that's Steve over there running up. So that's where Steve and Nona live. There's lots more to see in the hospital, but unfortunately we don't have time to see anything else but that. Teachers, what we're going to do from here, is that if you have questions, we're going to go one class at a time. And then we'll have a chance to answer 2 questions per class. So just let me grab. Just grab a Nona. All right, so we're going to start with our first class, Maureen. going to put you on the screen so everyone can see you. Maureen, do you have 2 questions for me?
You have a question.
How do the boys and girls have something in, like, or how are they different?
How are the boys and girls different?
Okay, that's a very good question. So African penguins are quite cool because you can't tell the difference between boys and girls just by looking at them. So when they get their tuxedo and they go black and white like this, they're gonna look exactly the same. Doesn't matter if they're a boy or if they're a girl. Sometimes the boys have slightly longer beaks and sometimes the boys are a little bit taller. That's a good question, thank you.
Trinity.
Do penguins eat on land or in the water?
Do penguins eat on land or in the water?
They will eat in the water when they are hunting for their own food, but they eat on land if they're baby penguins because mom or dad come back with their fish and then they throw it back up into the chick's mouth. So the chick eats on land, but mommy and daddy penguin eat in the ocean when they're out hunting.
Yes.
That's a very good question. Thank you. So Maureen, thank you for your class's questions. We're going to go over, oh, there's another Maureen. So I understand the confusion there, sorry. So we're on the other Maureen now. Do you have a question for me?
We do. Go ahead. Read your question loud.
Why don't penguins fly even though they are birds?
So scientists think that many years ago, penguins were able to fly, but then they stopped flying because they didn't need to anymore. You see, penguins are the only type of bird that can dive to a certain depth in the ocean. So when penguins dive for fish, they don't have any other birds to compete with. Really cool. They're actually the only birds that will eat that part of fish that live in the ocean. So a lot of people think that they stopped flying because they actually didn't need to anymore. Good question. Thank you.
Why are penguins endangered?
Penguins are endangered for a number of reasons. African penguins are endangered. People used to harvest their eggs because people used to harvest guano, which is basically their poop. But that caused a problem because penguins didn't have stuff to make their nest out of just digging it up. Then we also have problems today more about climate change, overfishing, and not so much with penguins, but definitely with other marine animals, plastic pollution. That's a good question. Thank you. So thanks so much for those questions. To the other Maureen, let's jump on to Mary. Mary, do you have questions for us?
Yes. Tell her your name. Say I'm Madeline. You need to. The camera's up here. There you go. Stand in front of the. There you go. There you go. Bend down. Bend down. There you go. And talk right. You're looking up here. There you go. Can you ask your question?
How much, what kind of penguin do you mostly see?
We mostly see African penguins. So there's only one type of penguin that lives in my country and on the African continent, the African penguin. So that's who we see the most of. That's a very good question. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to go to lunch now. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mary. Right, and then let's jump on to Crystal. Okay, do you guys, okay, Crystal says can't see. What is the most common way you see penguins get injured? That's a good question. We see a lot of predator-based attacks. So a lot of penguins that are bitten by their predators like sharks or fur seals. So it's most of the injuries have come in from being attacked by other animals. But sometimes we do get things that are related to people, like a penguin being knocked over by a car or being shot with a pellet gun or something like that. That's a good question. Thank you. How do you know if a penguin has a disease? So, great question. The first thing that happens when a penguin comes in is we'll weigh them, we'll draw a bit of blood, and in the blood we'll do that first basic blood smear, and that'll tell us if the penguin has any kind of infections or bacteria right off the bat. If they've got something super complicated, then we send it off to a special lab for testing. Thanks, Crystal. Those are awesome questions. Okay, and then we're just jumping on to our last class, Christina. I'm sorry, teachers, that I'm saying your first names. Do you have questions on that side?
What? Go ahead. Go ahead.
What do they make their nests out of?
So normally it would be guano, so like their poop, they would use that. And they also use, you know, things that they would find like branches and leaves and that kind of thing. But I've been out in colonies where I've seen penguins that are making their nests out of like plastic wrappers and things because there's just a lot of trash that washes up on the beach. That's a good question. Thank you. And then our last question for today.
How long will Steve and Nona live?
Oh, that's a good one. So how long will Steve and Nona live? Steve and Nona will probably live much longer than other African penguins do. If an African penguin lives in the wild, typically they live about 10 years. If they live in captivity, so like in a zoo or an aquarium, they can live 10 to 25 years, but the oldest African penguin actually died when he was 42 years old in a zoo overseas. So they can have a really, really long life if the conditions are right. Thank you so much for those wonderful questions. Guys, thanks so much for taking part in this lesson. I really hope that you enjoyed meeting Nona. You got to see Steve for a second. I hope that you learned something and that you enjoyed this experience of exploring by the seat of your pants. If you would like to help SANCCOB, something you can do as a class, as a school, as a grade, is you can name and adopt your very own penguin at SANCCOB for $20, which goes towards the center, and that's used to buy fish and medicine and all that. I also have a challenge that I'm issuing out to any school who wants to take it. If you can collect 1,000 plastic bottle caps for me and send me a picture, you will win a prize. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but I promise you it's really, really cool. Cool. So guys, thanks so much. Have a lovely day. Bye.